Today on Sunrise, the voting begins. What Providence nurses have to say about the latest tentative agreement that would end their 6-week strike. Plus, a woman stands charged with hitting 2 paramedics with her car. How this all unfolded in a church parking lot. Your news starts now. Good morning, and thanks for getting up with us as we kick off your Sunday. It is 7 a.m. I'm Libby Dowsett. We have a weather impact alert this morning. Here is Daisy Caballero with the details. Daisy.
Yeah, Libby, good morning and happy Sunday to you and to all of our viewers at home. Yeah, we have a weather impact alert today lasting all the way until tomorrow because of how much rain we're going to continue to see, at least for the next 48 hours. And that's all thanks to this atmospheric river. So yeah, we have seen a pretty good amount of rainfall, over an inch of rain for the Rose City within the last 48 hours, and more is on the way. But looking at our total so far this morning, a little more than 3/10 of an inch of rain for the Rose City, nearly half of an inch for the Hillsborough area, and that's also the case nearly half of an inch for the Hood River area as well. So the next 5 days look like this in terms of the rain. So heavy rainfall expected for today, also into tomorrow for Monday, potential for flooding, also rain for Tuesday, then Wednesday and Thursday we do actually start to dry out as well. Live look right now through our camera for the Oregon Zoo, 53 degrees last check there. And a quick look at the rest of your current temperatures, 55 degrees for Westland, 52 for Happy Valley, and 60 degrees still for the Salem area. So we have a lot to talk about, including all of these watches and warnings. Back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. After 6 weeks on the picket lines, the Oregon Nurses Association has received a tentative agreement with Providence. Members are now voting on the contract proposal. Celine Stevens heard from workers on the picket line, and many were still undecided on how they will vote.
I haven't decided how I'm going to vote on this contract yet.
I'm not really sure. I'm still kind of thinking that out.
Nurses, a part of the Oregon Nurses Association at all 8 hospitals, are now voting on another tentative agreement with Providence.
Everyone's going to have to look at it and see how it measures up. The things we won, the things we didn't win, and see if they're willing to say yes.
This comes after the majority of nurses voted down the last tentative agreement just a couple of weeks ago.
It's better than our first TA, for sure, but still not what we really hoped for.
Here's what it entails.
The one thing that we did get is some more language regarding safe staffing, which was one of our biggest asks, and that's the one thing we feel better about.
According to the ONA, patient acuity will now factor into staffing plans.
When we develop our staffing plans, we have to define the number of nurses that are required, and we have to consider how sick the patients are, how intense the level of nursing care.
The ONA says they also got major wage increases as well as retro pay, which was a big talking point for many nurses. However, that has limits.
They're not paying 100% of it, though. They're only paying the nurses 75% of the money that's due to them for the work they already did.
Additionally, it's only for nurses at bargaining units whose contracts expired before December of last year. It will also happen in phases, meaning they won't receive their last 25% of pay until October. In a statement, Chief Executive of Providence, Oregon, Jennifer Burrows, said that Providence is hopeful that ONA-represented nurses will ratify the tentative agreements that pave a solid path forward for us all. Now, nurses have 48 hours to decide how they will vote to potentially end the month-and-a-half-long strike.
The cost of staying out here longer for our nurses versus what we could win if we stayed in it another 2 weeks or a month is something I'm considering.
And the vote will actually last until 4 o'clock tomorrow. If the contract gets ratified, nurses will return to work on Thursday. A Portland woman faces multiple charges, including DUI and assault, after allegedly hitting two paramedics with her car. It happened Thursday night when paramedics were called to help a woman who passed out in a car in a church parking lot near Northeast 116th and Prescott. Investigators say they started treating the 29-year-old woman, Rashia Murphy, but she woke up, started the car, and backed away, hitting the paramedics and driving through the church's landscaping. Officers followed Murphy's car to her home, where she was arrested. The paramedics were treated for serious injuries. Murphy's blood alcohol level was allegedly found to be nearly 3 times the legal limit. A new spot designed to help people transition out of homelessness is set to open in Portland's Montavilla neighborhood. Devin Haskins gets a tour of the new Oak Street Village.
The 29 pods behind this fence will house those living in their cars here in the Montavilla neighborhood, hoping to get them off the streets and into more sustainable housing. This is a reservation-based pod, meaning once they're screened and approved and moved in, they can stay here as long as they need.
This is part of that journey, a part of that new beginnings that we're all hopeful for Portland, and we're here to celebrate that.
Inside these pods, it's more than just a place to sleep. It's a safe space to call home for up to 40 people who've been living in their cars.
They get a bed, yeah.
Pastor Dwight Miniweather is the site director.
The purpose of the setup was that someone would be very comfortable and warm and safe inside of the facility.
Straightway Services will run the shelter. Each pod comes with their basics: a locking door, a bed, heating or air conditioning, and storage space.
The overall goal of me getting somebody in here was just simply to just not, I would say not to look and say, you need a handout. My whole concept was, if you just give them a chance to see themselves again in a normal environment, it might trigger their mind back to a normal state.
And he understands that need firsthand.
Child of Vanport.
For years, he was addicted to cocaine until one person changed his life after offering him a hand up and a place to stay.
If somebody hadn't did this for me, that's the difference. Somebody did this for me when I was 39. I'm 64, so it changed my whole life.
Oak Street Village will be staffed 24 hours a day with showers, bathrooms, and laundry facilities. The team will work closely with residents to help them find permanent housing.
Our goal absolutely is to get people stabilized and to move them on their journey. The goal is not to shelter people forever.
Dan Field is the director of the Homeless Services Division with Multnomah County. The day-to-day costs to run the shelter come from the Metro Supportive Housing Services measure that voters passed in 2020. As for the construction costs, that was covered by state funding.
We're excited that this pod model really provides people the right mix of community, but also personal space and safety that allows people to stabilize and begin to put their future in their sights.
The county says the newest residents should move in within the next couple of weeks. In Southeast Portland, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Making a splash for a good cause. Saturday, Special Olympics Oregon kicked off its biggest fundraiser of the year, the Polar Plunge. More than 36 people gathered at Willamette Park to finish their 24-hour super plunge. These plungers started at noon on Friday. They ran into the river every hour on the hour. All of this to make sure any athlete who wants to join the Special Olympics has the means.
We cover everything from uniforms, food, transportation, lodging, coaching. If you think about how expensive it is when you have a kid in mainstream sports and all of the things that you pay for to support, their activities, we cover everything for our athletes just to make sure that that's never a barrier for participation.
And it looks chilly out there. Through this super plunge alone, Special Olympics Oregon has managed to raise more than $165,000.